I'm actually impressed by that. We are a back three. They have to try and stretch us. If there's any weakness against the back three, it's dragging the two centre-backs wide if you can. Problem is, nobody ever beats Rudiger, and at the moment, Chalobah's having an absolute ball. So I like their thinking. It's clever, but I still don't know if it's going to be good enough.
Well, we've got the two up top this afternoon as well, in Ben Andrews and Jason Cundy, who are up in the gantry for us. Boys, looking very wrapped up and warm. Are you well?
Yeah, we're warm enough here. Just spare a thought for those poor Tottenham fans, eh? The conference debacle, and then they go all the way up to Burnley, turn around and come back again. We're warm enough here. Hello, everybody. Team news, Jason. Ruben's starting. Mason's on the bench. Timo Werner starts for the first time since Malmo.
Yeah.
And Trev keeping his place ahead of Andreas Christensen. It's a meritocracy, this Chelsea side, isn't it?
Yes, it is, and it's been, you know, we're waxing lyrical about this squad and how it can be rotated, and the performance levels don't change. The players come in, the personnel might change, performance levels don't. In fact, they get raised. Maybe that's the brain, you know, some huge plan from Tuchel that's going to say, I'll bring you in, you perform, and the next one's saying, geez, I've got... When results keep going your way and you keep winning and you keep scoring goals and get clean sheets, it's impossible for anyone that's left out to say, I should be in that team. And when you rotate and the same thing happens again, it's like, oh my God, the bar's gone up again. Oh my God, that's happened. That's what we're witnessing right now. Can it continue? Inevitably, no. At some stage it will change. But right now, that's what we're looking at. That the bar has been moved up. Tuchel has demanded more and more, and he's getting more and more. Clean sheets keep coming. Chances keep coming. Goals keep coming. That is exactly what you want as a manager. And right now, he's got the Midas touch.
Reasons to be cheerful, which I believe we'll be coming to a little later on. Yeah, nothing you could have or ask more rather than a winning side and competition for places, and the two of them can just keep on keeping on. In terms of them, they were just talking there in the studio about, you know, maybe you can't have the luxury of Bruno and Ronaldo for a game like Chelsea away, the work rate. They haven't got Martial in the side, they haven't got the pace of Greenwood, who's not been well. It looks defensively minded. Do you think Diamond, do you think maybe even a McTominay or a Matic might go in and make it three at the back? I mean, it's Fred, McTominay and Matic starting and no Ronaldo.
Joe, I just caught what Pat said at the very end of that piece of analysis they done. And that's what's sticking in my mind. I can't give it. They've gone Sancho and they've got Rashford. That's the only two real genuine pieces of pace they've got. So they have to offer something at some stage. Doesn't mean they're going to go two up top. I'm kind of feeling, looking at what they've got, that looks likely, but then you say, how do you fit that in behind them? What is the system? I'm kind of going 3-5-2.
And then you've got Wan-Bissaka and Telles being wing-backs and you're almost matching up.
I haven't really thought it through without digesting it. But when you look at the team, so you look at the top, for me, how can you threaten Chelsea? You've got to have pace at some stage. You have to. But you've got to. Rashford and Sancho offer that in abundance. Not a lot of goals in this team, by the way. I'll say that much. But maybe they're coming in saying, do you know what? Keep things tight. Catch Chelsea on the counter. And if you look back at Ollie's succession, and he had a lot of good results against Chelsea, that's exactly what he did.
Yes, if there's one thing that Team Tuchel hasn't done, it's beating Manchester United. It's a long old time since a Premier League victory, that is for sure. More on that later. Back to you.
Thank you very much, boys. We'll be hearing from Ben and Jason a little bit later on. The team news, obviously, they just made a really good point there. We kind of missed, I suppose, a little bit. McTominay potentially dropping into a back three, Pat.
Yes, he does it for Scotland all the time. He does a decent job, and only a decent job, not a brilliant job. A lot of people in Scotland don't think he's... they think he's wasted in there, because he's much better with his legs in the midfield. But actually, I take that point. It's a really good thought. The problem you've got when you go three at the back against Chelsea, three of you end up marking one. And when you do that, you've just given away the midfield. And you don't want to do that against Chelsea. I understand it. It'll be interesting to see when it starts. And you never know what's going to happen. I mean, Man United have come here before, many times, and just defended. And they've done it. You know, they've not lost it. So it could happen again. And I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't do it if I was United. But that doesn't mean to say they won't.
Obviously, Play Predictor, you can still have your say. If you haven't done already, you've got until 5 minutes before kick-off to get your predictions in. Loads of really cool prizes to win every single match day and over the course of the month and the season as well. So, boys, I'm going to split it up a little bit. Score predictions, Sam. What do you think, mate?
2-0
2-0
Chelsea.
Comfortable 2-0 possession-wise, kind of.
I think we'll be comfortable possession-wise, but I think we might struggle to score early on to see how they're going to play, because, like they've just said, we don't know how they're going to face up. It might be Scott coming deeper. So if that is the case, it's all dependent on how fast it takes us to adapt to that, you know, and if Callum can get at them, if Werner can get at them, and hopefully we score one of the goals quite early on, and then second half we're just searching for it and then get the goal in the second half.
OK, in a word then, Pat, first goal scorer.
First goal scorer. You can't do that with Chelsea. Everybody's scoring. That's it. That's the hardest question you've ever asked me.
James, good answer. Reece James, good answer.
That'll do.
Brilliant. All right, then, let's have a little look at time for the social. Yes, welcome to the social. So we're diving into the Chelsea timeline over the last couple of days, all the trending topics, all the bits and pieces that you may have seen on your timeline, some bits that maybe you haven't seen as well, and we've got a very special strolling down Fulham Road in a little while as well, boys. So this is straight into show and tell. Today it's about Chelsea, Manchester United, that theme, people that have represented both clubs. Okay, so we picked a goal each for you to decide the best of in the chat, in the comments down below. 3 goals from players that have played for both Chelsea and Manchester United. And I'm going to start with Sam. You can go with Nemanja Matic. You've gone, haven't you?
Yeah, Matic. This was a great goal, to be honest. He doesn't score that many goals. I think he scores like once every 100 appearances. But this finish right here, and I think the time of the game, the strike, first time, hitting the... Come on. It doesn't get any better than that. Even the celebration, he was kind of shocked. And then he was like, OK, yeah, I've just scored a screamer. Then he starts screaming even more. But yeah, every time I see that strike, it's just like, wow. The set from Hazard as well, caressed it. And then the way he just struck it top bins, Lloris couldn't do anything about that.
Against Spurs at Wembley makes it a lot sweeter.
Makes it much better.
Yeah, what a strike that is. That is an absolute stunner.
Stanch, literally.
I thought I could have got close at the corner.
Starts for Man United today as well, and the Man United Matic. OK, up next, I've gone for Mark Hughes. Now, this is just unbelievable goal from a player, a massively underrated player as well, I think, Mark Hughes. What a volley. Loved a volley. Loved a volley. There's very few players that I can think of in Chelsea history, not just Chelsea history, football history, that scored as many volleys as him. The self-set with a little flick over the top as well, the header. It's an unbelievable... If that's Dennis Bergkamp scoring that, we wouldn't have heard the end of it. It's an unbelievable strike from Mark Hughes.
Big finish. That's a big
unbelievable finish. OK, and Pat, you've gone for Juan Mata.
Not just because it's Juan Mata, but mostly. You know, I mean, it can be. Obviously, I love him as a player. He was a fantastic player for us. But when you catch it as clean as that, he's got a lovely left foot anyway. But
he looks so young.
He does. You're clean shaven just about then. He's one of those people I think used to shave with a blowtorch. But honestly, you have to time it well. You have to time it perfectly when it comes over that. And do you know that? Look at his angle of his body. It's not a normal angle. It's I need to take something off this. It is leather.
Yeah,
the keeper sees it as only a blur. Nothing else than that. That's a cracker of a goal, and more importantly, it's Juan Mata.
It's a great goal. Make sure you have your say in which is your favourite in the comments down below. Time for the trending topics of the week. And rightly so this week. It's been reasons to be cheerful, I suppose, for Chelsea. Loads of positivity across the Chelsea timeline. And we're going to start with the hashtag is reasons to be cheerful, because there's plenty of that for it. So, tell you what, let's start with you, Sam. We've kind of asked you for your reasons to be cheerful at the moment. So what have you gone for?
I had to go for Loftus-Cheek. He's been amazing. He's been a revelation this season, just because of the fact that his time during his career has been so up and down because of the injuries and being so young, having to go into some of the teams that he had to try and get into, and then going on loans, and then people not knowing whether it's going to work out. And the fact that we saw with the midfielders that we have in the squad, we've got Kovacic, Kanté, Jorginho, and then we have Saul on loan as well. It's like, where can he fit in? But he's literally just dug deep and said, I'm going to find my way into this team, and said to Tuchel, you know what? Thank you for giving me this opportunity. I'm going to pay you back. And you're seeing it week in, week out. He's getting so much more confident on the ball. It's just amazing to see, honestly. Like, I love watching him play.
Yeah, he's absolutely on fire at the moment, isn't he? And starts today, obviously, quite a lot of people agreeing with your comments about Ruben Loftus-Cheek, Sam, because people are loving it online. The resurgence of Ruben Loftus-Cheek has given me so much happiness. Honestly. I shall tweet about him every day. That's a nice one. Nice little Jose meme as well. Ruben Loftus-Cheek walked so the likes of Mount could run at Chelsea. He proved to them that it's possible to take the next step from the first team to from Cobham. I'm so happy about his resurgence. It could have been a thing of pity if he never made it here. It's so true. It's so true Resurgence of Ruben Loftus-Cheek has been the best surprise of the season so far by a very long way. It's from Tom Overend. And we've got one more as well, which is the Loftus-Cheek resurgence has been beautiful. Love it. It really is, though, isn't it? Because he, like that tweet said, he has sort of trod the ground. So the likes of Mason and Reece and Callum know there is a pathway there, Pat.
Clearly, there didn't look like there was a route back in. We really didn't. You looked, there was periods of time when we had so many midfielders, and then wee Billy was ahead of him last year. The players that were going, you thought he was going to be one of the two behind the striker a lot of the time, but now, he can play in that other central midfield position. There just didn't seem to be a space. And I'll be honest, I couldn't see a space. But what an attitude he's shown.
Honestly.
Right, I'm back in there. I'm going to stand up against world-class players and say, I deserve a game here. Big chance from today. If he has a right good one today, you know what Thomas is like? You'll think, good. You've done it. You have it today and go. You might be fit, but you can stay in.
Yeah.
And it's happened with Chalobah, so it can happen with Ruben. So well done, Ruben, but well done, the gaffer, to say if you're doing it, you're sticking there. Jason said exactly the same thing, and he's right.
Absolutely right. Well, I tell you what, let's head over to Jason and Ben, who have got their reasons to be cheerful. Boys, or you?
I'm trying to think of a reason not to be cheerful, to be honest. Aside from this being the first time I can remember in all the years of working here that there's actually been a spate of injuries. Chelsea are always top of the table, aren't we, in terms of fewest minutes lost to injury in the season. This is the first bad one I can remember. But that aside, why wouldn't you be cheerful about everything? Kanté, what are you going for?
I'm going, what, in terms of result?
No, reasons to be cheerful.
Oh, reason to be cheerful. My God, OK, there's so many. But right now, I spoke to Liam earlier in the week about things, and I said to him, look, we're in all competitions, and I outlined the competitions. Then he reliably informed me, do you know what, we've already won one of them. We've already won the Super Cup. So actually, there are more reasons to be cheerful than I first originally thought.
Sextuple.
OK, he's the sextuple.
The sextuple.
Sextuple, OK. So right now, we're in all competitions, and I think, as any football fan, OK, let's say Chelsea fans, going into the new year, if you can still have your foot in at least, OK, let's say all those competitions.
It'll be a semi-final. It'll be a semi-final of the Carabao if you've beaten Brentford.
Yeah, and they're always looking for a nice, easy start in the FA Cup, and of course you're looking for that as well. But also you think about what's going on other than that. So there's the Club World Cup. That starts in January. Right? So there's that to look forward to. We've already won the Super Cup. We're European kings. We're still in that competition. We're top of the Premier League. I mean, my God, we are really eyeing up silver. Is it going to happen, all of them? No, it isn't. That's almost impossible. But, the thing to look forward to, and this is what I am so excited about, is every single game has got something on it that you've got to get a result. You look at the result, the performance, got to get something on it. And that, as Chelsea fans, the only time I can remember this happening deep into a season was under Jose, when we got knocked out in the Champions League against Liverpool. And we were absolutely in every single competition. The double was on, the FA Cup, everything was on. And that was the first day that we left. And I think it was like deep into April.
Loads of reasons to be cheerful under Thomas Sextuple Tuchel. We'll work something out that's
very
a little
good,
bit,
Ben.
We'll
very
try and
good.
work something a little bit better than that. Don't forget the women on the hunt for mega silverware as well, plural, and a cup final coming up for them soon. Lots of reasons to be cheerful up here, even being with him.
He's got a reason to be cheerful for those mittens as well. Good work, isn't he? Yeah. And like Ben's saying, the women on the hunt for an FA Cup next weekend. 5 players now nominated for the Ballon d'Or. Fran Kirby passing 100 goals. Sam Kerr, new contract, absolutely flying. You've gone for amazing squad depth, Pat.
Yeah, I've never known this in all my time. I was going to say watching Chelsea. I think anyone. I don't think there's a player that I think that I say he's out and I go, oh no. There's not a player. Even though some of them like Reece, Jorginho, Thiago Silva are world-class players, absolute world-class players, and you can keep on going. But if any of them are missing, I go, N'Golo Kanté's not playing. Any other team, N'Golo Kanté's not playing. Half of the stadium's in tears. Here, no, but it's okay, we're fine. We've got Ruben. We've definitely got Jorginho there. Usually we'll have all sorts of midfielders we can bring in there as well. But it's not just the one-for-one changes. You look at the wide, wing-back areas, right? Reece, say he doesn't play. Aspie's not bad, is he? He's all right. We're missing Ben for a wee while, right? Alonso's coming. He's been brilliant for us. What happens if Alonso goes out? That's all right. You just put Aspie over there. Or you put Callum back there. There's so many options just now. We talked about how we would play the team today. I'd be fine with Reece James sitting in midfield. And everywhere I look, every single place I look, we have got gigantic options. We could lose 11 players to injury and stick out a team there, and I'd be confident against Man United. I'm not saying we'd beat them, but I'd be confident we'd be good enough. I've never known that. And I've never even been close to knowing that. That's how good this is.
You're absolutely right. I mean, Adam with the first tweet saying 6 or 7. You know, this one here from Deo. Chelsea squad depth gives me so much joy. What a time to be alive. Exactly what you're saying, Pat. You know, this is a great one here, right? Players who didn't start last night. This was in the week against Juventus. Romelu Lukaku, Timo Werner, Kai Havertz, Mateo Kovacic, Mason Mount, Andreas Christensen, Cesar Azpilicueta, Ruben Loftus-Cheek. Those 2, 4, 6, 8 players there probably start in maybe 19 of the other 20 Premier League sides, 18 of the other 19.
And by the way, have a look at the loan players.
Yeah.
I mean, you go, what? So you've got so many options. A lot of the managers think the golden scenario is get to a situation where you've got 22 players, where you can fit somebody in for him. We've got more than that. We've got lots more than that because there's so many players like Aspie, like Reece, they can play 4 or 5 different positions, like Callum, you know, like Ruben, like Mason. They can all play about 3 positions, and they can all play them at a top class level. If I was playing against Chelsea, I would absolutely hate it. Because Ben says there, we've just had this big, long list of injuries. You know, I've never known it. Yeah, I hadn't noticed it. Because we can just bring in pure quality. It's not hyperbole. I'm not kind of like that. But I've never seen like it.
No, I completely agree with you, mate. Completely agree. Great position to be in at the moment. I'll tell you where else is lovely to be. Strolling down Fulham Road. Check this out. Right, here we go then. Outside Fulham Broadway Station for Strolling down Fulham Road. Now, one familiar face in Brett that we're going to have on the show very, very soon. Brett, just talk us through the lads that you're with here. You are from which supporters club?
Yeah, so we're from the Capital City Blues, Sacramento, California, not DC, Sacramento. I got my mate Jimmy here.
Hello. Hello. Good to be here.
Kim.
I'm Cam. I'm JR. Nice to meet you guys.
So here we go. We're going to start walking backwards. Daisy, our producer, is walking backwards. So if at any point you see me waving or hand up or something like that, it means that the camera's gone backwards, and that's what we're doing that for. So boys, you're over here you've been over here all week. That's correct, isn't it? Brett, we're going to talk to you about that a little bit more in person in a second. But the important part, I suppose, is that here we go. We're back at the bridge. What a lovely day to be at. Sun's out. It's freezing cold, and I want to start as well. It is freezing cold. However, not that cold, is it?
No, we're used to it.
Talk me through the footwear.
You know, I wear flip-flops all the time. I'm just kind of used to it. No big deal.
No big deal. That's brave. I've got 2 pairs of socks on and I'm still freezing cold. All right, boys, we're going to go down the line then, I suppose. So this week, talk me through your week then, because you've been over here all week. You saw Juventus in midweek at Stamford Bridge in one of the best performances I think I've seen in a long time. What a treat.
Oh, it's quite the performance. You know, I don't know what to say. It's left speechless by it.
It is one of those games, isn't it, where you're glad you're in attendance for, I suppose?
Absolutely. Seeing the Academy boys score and just the roar of the crowd, being back at the bridge, amazing feeling, amazing feeling.
And it's a very long journey for you boys. You've come over during Thanksgiving as well, which is obviously quite a massive holiday in America. Is that something your families have been okay with?
Yeah, I mean, for the love of Chelsea, like, they kind of got to be, right? Like, but you know, honestly, we do miss the families, but you know, just being able to grab Uwe and Manu right on each other's backs, like you got to go, right?
You've got to, haven't you? It's like a pilgrimage, isn't it, really? Like you come to the bridge and, I mean, yeah, what week you picked. Did you plan this purposely, that you come over for Juve and Man United?
Yeah, we did. We looked at the schedule, right? And we get 2 days off for the holiday, right? So it makes sense for us to come over now, right? But we saw Juve and Man U, were like, oh, we got to go that week for sure. So we booked it almost immediately, got our tickets. Lovely game so far. Hopefully today it's even better.
Hopefully so. And again, this is one of those that I hear that you do this quite regularly. This isn't the first Thanksgiving you've been over to a little pilgrimage, I suppose, to the bridge. You do this quite regularly?
Yeah, well, we try to come over as a group at least once a year. And so this will be our 2nd year, and we'll try to go maybe not next year because the World Cup, but the year after we'll be here back.
So I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit here. Yeah. Is this your favourite time you've been over? Is there a special moment in the past that you can remember that you think of?
I think we saw Villa play at the bridge when JT came back in 2019, and we sat right down where Tammy chested a ball
to Mason, and he laced it right in. And that was probably my favorite moment, my first goal right in front of me when we're at the bridge. But nothing beats Tuesday's win and that performance. So it's just complete performance. Lovely, lovely result.
And also a little congratulations as well, because you're expecting your firstborn.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, thanks for asking. Yeah, my wife and I are expecting our firstborn. She'll be a Blues fan from day one, and we already got a mini kit printed up for her already, and maybe we can do a preview of that later on the show.
Absolutely, we definitely will. So I suppose that you said about, you know, next year's a little bit more difficult because of Qatar and the World Cup and everything like that. So it may affect those sort of plans. It feels like it's been one of those games where, one of those seasons, I suppose, where trips like this from abroad fans, it's so much harder to do, but it makes it that much more special when you do go over here, doesn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, we'll just have to use, you know, maybe spring break next year, right? Like, we'll have to figure out some way to get over here. Like, there isn't a question whether, you know, if, it's when, right? So
we'll come around this way as well, boys, because obviously this is, you know, this is what we've all come to see. I mean, it's that walk as well, isn't it? You know, it's so special that you do get to do that walk, and fans that are coming over from a different space. I suppose a little bit we're desensitised to it. Sometimes when it's hammering it down, it's not the nicest walk, but when the sun's out like today, you see this coming into view, beautiful.
Oh, you can't beat it. Just this walk right now, the stadium. Well, we got here. We stay at the Millennium Copthorpe, so we're here like all week, right? So we've been at Frankie's the whole week. You know, chatting up with Pat and Evan, and it's just quite a lovely walk, though. We enjoy it.
Boys, thank you so much for coming over. Genuinely, it's an absolute pleasure to have you here. Hopefully the game's all good, and obviously book us in early doors for spring break next year. Is that all right? Good work. Brett, I'm going to take you in the studio with us. So back two. And just like magic, here we go. Here's one I made earlier. How are you, Brett?
Hey, I'm doing well. How are you guys?
Yeah, good, mate. Good. Thank you so much for joining us. I know that you spent a lot of time with Pat over the last 24 hours, sat having a little chat in Frankie's downstairs last night. I mean, you know, we had this off air. We had this little chat off air. How much of a lovely man he is.
Oh, it was the highlight of our trip. Just spending an hour and a half with Pat at the pub at Frankie's last night. It was amazing.
I've not told my wife about this. Come on.
He didn't pay us. He didn't pay us.
Well, they paid. They wouldn't let me pay for a drink, and they were a different class. Honestly, watching these guys walking along there, you looked like a band over from America, you know. This is the new Nirvana or something like walking along Fulham Road. What a cool bunch, and you know, apart from anything else, what a nice bunch of guys they were. They were over to see I was doing a tour.
Let's talk about you, because we've got a little montage of your trip over here, which is really, really nice, and we're going to see that now, actually, because there's quite a lot that you've packed into a short week, as you can see here. Sky is obviously the mini kit that you was talking about, which is going to be amazing. The firstborn already, straight into a Chelsea kit, which we love.
Love it.
And see a familiar face in the bottom right in Pat down here. And then obviously the Juve game is at the middle of the Juve game, in the middle of the bottom left. And then top right is Kings Meadow, is that?
Top right, we went to a Fulham match. So
okay, fine.
We like football, but we did go to Kings Meadow, though, on Friday night and watch the Academy play.
That's an album cover, that top right. Isn't it? It's an album cover.
It definitely is.
So you've done it all, really. You've ticked it all off. The Juve game, Kings Meadow, the tour with Pat yesterday.
Kings Meadow was amazing. Yeah, we went and saw the Academy play. Harvey Vale scored a goal. But yeah, just being with Pat last night, we didn't expect to spend an hour and a half after the match with you. So personally, we all wanted to thank you.
No,
the tour was amazing, and he's got great stories to tell. So
the tour was good. These guys were good on the tour as well.
Yeah.
And it's because, you know, the tour's a big thing. It was the busiest day in the history of Chelsea tours yesterday.
Really?
The most ever people that have had in tours. So it's huge, and it's people from all over the world, and yourselves came into that one. So it was a big, big day for Chelsea Football Club and its tours that day, and I was really happy to be part of one of them. But meeting the guys there was great fun, and JR particularly, he's a big punk fan.
Yeah,
so
two of you get along.
We got on really well, but it really annoyed me because he knew more about punk than I did.
Oh
man,
that
killed me.
That is a big pat on the back.
Human.
Oh, it was.
I was like, I gotta get this.
But okay, so let's have a little chat about your trip, because it's quite a big deal. And we obviously, you know, had yourself on Zoom earlier in the season, and we get quite a lot of fans from overseas that I suppose meticulously plan to come over, and it's quite difficult to squeeze everything in. To me, it looks like you've done that. You've managed to pack everything in. So what's the trick? What's the tips you've got into any overseas fans that are coming?
The trip is just coming to watch Chelsea. I mean, do everything Chelsea related, right? Go see Pat and Evan. Go to Kings Meadow, right? Go to the matches. We base everything around football, right? We don't come here and go to Big Ben and, you know, do all. It's fun stuff, right? But we come here to watch football, right? And so if you're an American fan, just come watch Chelsea, right?
Love that. Absolutely love that. We're going to chat to you more in a second, mate. But right now, we need to go behind enemy lines. Now, this is a little bit different because usually it's further afield, whereas today it's a little bit closer to home.
Hi Matchday Live team, I've heard great things about yourselves from my lovely wife Abby, although we're going to let the team you guys talk about all the time slide. I'm Adam, I'm a playlist curator for Deezer and I'm also a Manchester United fan. Come on the Reds!
Champions of Europe, we know what we are!
Do you mind? Come on.
Come on, Chelsea.
Never ever stops. How do I begin to sum up this season so far? Well, we'll start with the transfer window. We brought in Sancho, arguably the most exciting young winger England's had in a long time. We brought in maybe the most handsome man in football, in Raphael Varane. What a man. And we brought back the king. We brought back Ronaldo, and everything was so exciting. Everybody felt like this was going to be the title charge. We had solid defence, we had more attacking threat, and we had the goals of Ronaldo. And it's safe to say it hasn't really worked out that well. We beat a few mid-table teams at the start, but there was always some worrying signs in terms of how open we were, and obviously that got shown in the worst defeat in my memory, 5-0 at home to Liverpool, where they stopped playing after 60 minutes out of pity. And City, the same thing happened a couple of weeks later, and it just felt like that was it. We're out of the title race. We're luckily still in the Champions League, and with Ralf Rangnick now the coach, hopefully we can turn this season round into a more positive one. So with today's game, I think it's going to be a bit of a belter. We don't have any defence with Maguire now suspended, but we still have goals, and I think there's going to be an additional bounce from Ralph, a little bit of sprinkling of tactics, and I think it's going to be a score draw. I think we're going to quiet the Stamford Bridge crowd, and I think it's going to be 2-2, a Ronaldo brace, and the march starts. Come on, United. My favourite United and Chelsea memory, 2008. It's Moscow. It's the Champions League final. That Ronaldo jump and that Terry slip. We got our hands on big ears, and it was just such a wonderful moment.
Enjoyed that. Brilliant, Adam. And obviously Abby's husband, who's a regular on the show, making sure that doesn't have a quiet one. Brett, it's a big game today. Man United is always a test. We were just having a little chat there about Michael Carrick making some big decisions, but biggest test is testing his skills up against Thomas Tuchel, isn't it, really?
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I mean, it's going to be a great game, I think. The atmosphere from Tuesday, if it carries over today, it's going to be really good. We'll see. Yeah, I hope we win, obviously. 2-1 is my prediction, but, we'll see how it goes.
Well, you've been out, obviously. You've been out with the fans today, and even when we were walking down, it seems like the buzz, doesn't it? There's a buzz around the ground at the moment. Tuesday or Wednesday night? I keep forgetting Tuesday or Wednesday night. Midweek was another one of those where there was just a hunger and a desire around the ground to just want more and more games. When you play Man United off the back of beating Juventus so convincingly, it's a good time to play them.
Oh, definitely, yeah. And they don't have a full manager yet either, so we'll see, right? We were down at the Pension earlier. We were also down at the Cock earlier too as well. The atmosphere there was just crazy, right? Everyone's getting ready for the game. Off of Tuesday's 4-0 win over Juve. Oh, it was great. Can't ask for much more.
Absolutely sensational. Boys, brilliant as always. Time to hand over now to Jason and Ben for the warm-up.
Welcome to the warm-up, folks, and they are warming up down there. So much to look forward to. Jason's worried. He keeps saying, yeah, but it is Man United. Yeah, but it is Man United. But they are a bit rubbish. Come on.
Yes, they are a bit rubbish, but they're still Manchester United. And this is the thing. I've gone into this game more often than not recently expecting to win or expecting to come away with more than we've got. And it hasn't quite happened. And I think that we have to respect. This is me going in as a pessimistic Chelsea fan against, let's be honest, a brilliant football club. Things have changed. The tables have moved. This is not the Man United of old. This is not the Chelsea of old. We are an excellent team, an excellent squad with a brilliant manager, and he's getting the absolute maximum out of this squad right now. Maximum. and they've had a little bit of a bounce. Ollie's gone. It was long overdue. Things have changed, and I'm expecting there to be something different for Manchester United today, in all honesty.
And we will come to that in a second, actually. It's our 3 points for 3 points here. Let's start with taking all that good from Juve straight on into this, like it hasn't stopped. That feel-good factor, Jason. You don't see any reason why it shouldn't happen. The goals kept on flowing right the way to stoppage time with this man, Timo Werner, here. But there is that feel-good factor, isn't there? Whoever plays, keep on rolling.
Absolutely, and I'm going to take it back a little step further just to really underline the point. Leicester away, 12:30 after an international break. Let me tell you, they are the fixtures that BT choose. You look historically what they go for. They go for a big head, travelling away to one of the sides that might give them a performance. Newcastle away, I don't know if you remember, under Frank, we ended up beating them convincingly in the end. We missed 1 or 2 chances. But that's the type of performance the fixture they look for in undermining a big head. And we come through it in flying colours. Now let's move on to the point you just made, Juve at home. Yeah, we had to win this one. We had to win it by more than 2 goals, or certainly to get ourselves into that top position. We did it with aplomb. Is it the best Juve side? Maybe not. By the way, it's their worst defeat in Champions League history. So let's get a few things in perspective. I know they didn't have a great weekend this weekend either, but the truth remains that we had to win this game, and we had to win it convincingly. Both of them, 3-0, 4-0, convincing, clean sheets, onwards and upwards. This is a machine we're watching right now, a machine.
31 clean sheets in 50 games under Thomas Tuchel. That is impressive. Now, Jadon Sancho, you're seeing there warming up here at Stamford Bridge. What about the new boss bounce? I know he's not in yet. It does seem to be taking an inordinately long time. It might be because Ralph Rangnick can't get into the country. Who knows? But whether it's because he's watching or because Michael Carrick has maybe G'd him up a bit more, do we have to worry about that? Yes or no?
I think we need to be very wary of it. But right now, there's nothing you can do. I mean, you know, you can't change that, you know. What can we do? If they're going to put in a better performance, there's nothing we can do with it. All we can do is worry about us.
But be aware that they might, you know, they might all run 10% harder. It happens. We've seen it here. You remember when Jose went second time around, the next game here was Sunderland, and Hiddink was back in charge for it. And the players were running around suddenly like, you know, their lives depended on it again, and the fans were actually getting quite cross about it. They were booing when Branislav scored a goal, actually.
Look, they stopped playing for Ollie. They stopped playing for Ollie. As far as you can go back a couple of seasons, if the truth be known. And, yeah, results and performances, you dug 1 or 2 out. But the truth of the matter is, he was never, ever, ever going to be their long-term result. It just wasn't. No. The blind faith, absolutely delusioned.
They were never more than a week away from another rubbish result.
And you know what? OK, they pulled the trigger on what was a dreadful result away from home against Watford, right? And this is a side that have somehow managed to be results and stats one of the best sides in European football history away from home. They broke records at this country away from home, Ben. They were unbeaten for over a year. That cannot be overlooked. Cannot be overlooked. And they won nothing with it. The point I'm trying to make is they got thumped 4-1 away at Watford. And you can't get beat 4-1 away at Watford and expect to survive in a job like Manchester United. Okay?
Especially following on from 5-0 Liverpool.
And then getting turned over on Man City. So today's... I'm looking at a side, I'm going into it, my eyes wide open. Should we win? Yeah. Do I think we're going to canter and cruise? No, I don't. I think this is going to be a really hard fought. I'm expecting them to pack the middle of the park. They got 2... I don't know the system they're going to play, and this is going to be absolutely intriguing. I'm looking at a 3-5-2, or a version of.
Well, whatever it is, Jason, it's going to be makeshift, right? They've got Maguire suspended, and this is our 3rd point for 3 points. They got Maguire suspended. They've got Shaw out with injury. They've got Varane out with injury. So whether they've got 2 in there or 3 in there, it's makeshift. Yes. Lindelof and Bayer both have their struggles. They are both playing. So get pressure on them. Yes.
I'm just having a look at what they're doing now, and just I can't quite see who's over on that far side. Doing some warming up there. It looks like a 4 of sorts.
That's Lindelof and Bayer, isn't it?
They've got different bibs on. Which
no, it's Alex Telles and Bayer.
Looks like a back 4, Ben.
And Wan-Bissaka and Lindelof, you're right, it does.
It's a back 4.
Good spot, yes. 4 at the back training over there. Wan-Bissaka, Lindelof,
it's about 4.
and Alex Telles. So no Scott McTominay maybe sitting in there.
And what we're looking at here, okay, I've done this. This is a tight back 4.
Yeah, that's really tight. Right? You really could chuck a blanket over those.
Okay, so what you will expect to see is them to become from a 4 to a 6. Right? So what you'll see is the wide men on whatever side it might be will drop back in as a Jose done it beautifully here. I don't know if you remember the 2-2. Was it 2-2?
Well, he did it at Anfield on an infamous day for Denver Bar and Steven Gerrard.
So what he'll do is a 4, but what they will do, they'll drop their extra man in the middle of the park back into that space to become a 6. And the midfield will then become a 2 or a 3, depending on how they play it. But their back 4, Ben, are literally
the width of the 6-yard box.
100% right.
Yeah.
That's what. So though there's no space in which to operate, but what you do get is there's always space on a football pitch. You've got to be in front because you can't cover every area. You've got to cover the wide areas. You've got to drop deep. You've got to condense the pitch. You've got to make sure it's really congested in and around the area. That's fine. Got to be space somewhere, and that should give our midfield men more space and time.
Adventurous from Michael Carrick, who's auditioning to be the new Burnley boss.
Well, we will see, Ben. I mean, that might be a smokescreen.
They do have Sancho and Rashford for pace on the break, and maybe that's what they're here to hit. Now, they do have an X-factor waiting on Chelsea's bench today. Lukaku, it's been a long time. It feels like forever, and even longer since he scored. Jason has done a little bit of analysis on the big front man.
Well, the big question, of course, when Romelu Lukaku went missing for, 7 or 7.5 games, is now how were we going to replace the striker? What are we going to do differently? How are the chances going to be created? The truth is, we haven't really had to. So here's what he's good at. Look at the amount of bodies he draws around the ball. In doing so, we then find space out in those wide areas. Incredibly strong, incredibly powerful, whether it be in front or behind, as this goal shows here against Aston Villa. So his qualities we know all about. On the edge of the box as well, he can finish with both left foot, right foot and heading. But the way that we've played has changed. We're a fluid front 3, playing a very, very different way. So the question now is, Romelu Lukaku back into this Chelsea side, £90 million player, how do we integrate him back? What is he good at? What have we improved on since he's gone? Well, the good thing is we haven't had to rush him back before his injury is ready. We're hoping he'll play a part in today's games. Just 2 examples there of what he's good at on the shoulder on that occasion, and both of those, he's offside. But his link-up play is undoubtedly one of his biggest attributes. Holding play up, bringing players in around him, which is something we haven't had, and it's something we've had to change. So the big question now is, how do we get Lukaku back into this team and playing and creating as many chances as scoring as many goals as we have since he's been missing? It's a lovely question and a hard one to answer, but I tell you what, you'd rather be in Tuchel's seat right now with that question, knowing the answer is still on the bench.
Well, it is fascinating. It's a great point you make there, Jason. The fact is, we were saying last year, the only thing this side is missing really is a top centre-forward who can hold it up. And yet, in his absence, it has been OK. One to watch today with Lukaku on the bench, and we may well see that in reintroduction later, is Timo Werner, who himself, of course, got injured in that same Malmo game, was back off the bench with a tap-in at the end of Juve. He can obviously slot straight into the fluidity I'll try it again. Fluidity with Mount and Ziyech or Havertz or Callum or whoever that is. Timo's a straight swap. You could boo any one of them. But there is only one kind of Lukaku, isn't there? There isn't another option who can be a big forward who can hold it up, because there just literally isn't another bloke in the squad who does that. So Timo, it is today.
Yeah, and you know, when Timo plays, what he's looking for is space in behind, and we've just made the point there.
Not probably going to be much of that today.
Well, you would have thought not, bearing in mind what we've just seen as a warm-up and what I expect there to be. So we've got to be smart. There's got to be more space in front of that back line, that back 4, that back 6, that midfield. And players like Ziyech become absolutely crucial. You know, players that are going to have time and a bit of space on the ball. Expect this to be a war of attrition today, Ben, just looking at the team. I hope I'm wrong. Counter-attacking football in the modern game now, mostly from set pieces, corners, free kicks in wide areas, where naturally you are duty-bound to commit men for. Both whether you be Man United, you can't imagine United are going to have a set piece, in a wide area, and leave 5 back, they're not going to do that, are they? They're not. So they're going to throw him in forward. That's where we might be able to take advantage of them being out of position, not necessarily tactically, but because the situation will present itself in front of us. But in terms of Werner, what he'll be looking to do is looking to threaten behind, and he will inevitably get that ball. That his hold-up play now has got to be on point. It's got to be perfect, and that's not really his strongest suit.
I just wonder if there's a situation, let's say an hour's gone. I mean, Romelu can't be on the bench unless he can play some part in this game. Just say it was goalless an hour in, and yet that line we're talking about there, they've got 4 defenders kind of edge with the width of the 6-yard box there. If he can occupy a couple of them, he might need to be that guy in that sense, might need to start maybe dragging some other defenders towards him to make more space elsewhere.
Yeah, Ben, the modern game now, people, and you and I have had this conversation, I've had this with Pat, the 11 on the pitch don't tell you the whole story. It's the bench. Look at the bench. What can it do for you? How can it change the course of a game? Depending on whether you're winning, losing or drawing. What can it do for you? How are you going to change the course of a 90-minute game with the bench alongside you? And our strength in depth has shown recently that we are absolutely capable of dealing with anything that throws itself at us, and expect today to be one of those conundrums.
Well, I'm just seeing these substitutes finishing their warm-up here. The starters have gone back in, and that bench might well be required. Kai Havertz is part of it today, having missed out in midweek here against Juve. The man who will make those decisions in terms of whether or not Kai and co come off that bench is the man we're going to hear from now. Here's the boss, Mr. Tuchel.
So Thomas, 50 games in charge, 32 wins, 31 clean sheets. How do you reflect on your pretty successful first half century?
I was surprised when your colleagues told me that I have had my 50th game. It did not seem like 50. Time went by so quickly, which is pretty scary. I hope I can add some other packages of 50 to it, because I'm very happy where I am, and well, what a game it was, what a result it was for this occasion.
Absolutely. Another clean sheet, as we talked about before. Edouard Mendy has been so key to that, of course. But aside from the saves, tell us about his overall style of play and how important he is in the way that he sets the way that you look to play forward.
I think the most important is his aura and his self-confidence, and same time he's such an ambitious guy. He really sets the standards high for himself, and he gives confidence to the players. They trust him, he trusts himself, the players trust him. This is so important for in nowadays football, that your goalkeeper gives also security and gives a good feeling to your defenders. We are very happy to have him. He is an outstanding personality, outstanding goalkeeper, which is a fantastic mix.
His distribution and also his reading of play seem to be key, and it seems to be improving.
His distribution was a bit off against Juventus, but in general, yes. In general, yes. Yeah.
At the other end, 9 goals scored from set pieces so far this season. Is that indicative of the work you've been doing on the training pitch?
Yes, this is very easy. We are very strong in set pieces because Anthony Barry and our assistant and the team that he uses and our analyzing staff are doing a brilliant job. It's as easy as that. They're fantastic. They are hardworking. They're determined, and they present and train set pieces on the highest level I have ever experienced. And it's fun to watch, and we are grateful for that.
We could talk about individual performances all day. I wanted to ask you about Reece James, who's got his 5th of the season. How good is his overall game at the moment from your perspective? It
was a very, very good overall game against Juventus. There's no chance of denying and no need of denying. It was from the first to last minute very impressive with which self-confidence he played, what the quality he imposed, and the strength that he physically put onto the pitch and imposed on the opponents. He's in a very good moment. I hope he keeps his feet down to the ground like he is usually, a humble guy from the academy who loves to play for Chelsea. And he's very, very strong, very influential in the games, very decisive. Things are falling into place for him. Seems to be pretty easy, but it's hard work and a lot of effort behind it. And we will do everything to keep him on track.
On the other flank, you're going to miss Ben Chilwell, of course. Such a popular member of this squad. You get the feeling that people are going to want to win this weekend for him as well as for everyone else.
Yes, for sure. And still we are sad that he's out, but this is the situation. Very unlucky and never a good moment for injuries, but for him maybe a very bad moment because he was so important and so in such a good moment at his career. But it will not stop him. It's now a short delay. We have to find solutions without him, which is now our target. And this should not sound rude, but it's like this. And on the same time, we will focus with Chile on the positive, which is that we have now 6 weeks time to maybe avoid surgery and to maybe be back on the pitch sooner than we expected.
Hopefully so. Finally, Chelsea against Manchester United. Always one of those big marquee fixtures, isn't it? Yeah. How much do you look forward to games like this as a coach?
We knew that it was coming. We knew that there is a week coming with away game in Leicester, home game, Juventus, home game, Man United, where everybody gets very excited, and it's fair enough. I mean, these are two big clubs and very, very successful club, very influential clubs in Premier League. So these are the type of fixtures. They are like quite electrifying to everybody, and you feel the certain atmosphere. So after Juventus, we have the next big player at Stamford Bridge, and we need another strong performance, another performance full of belief and full of awareness. They will ask a lot of questions. They are a side full of quality, and we have to make them underperform when we want to beat them. We are very excited. These fixtures are the reason why everybody wants to play, why we want to play in Champions League and Premier League, and here we are. Sunday, it's game on.
Love that. There's the manager, Thomas Tuchel. Right, welcome back to Matchday Live. Sam's back in the studio. We've sent Brett off to enjoy the game. Thank you very much for his time as well. He was brilliant, wasn't he? Right, boys, we're going to get straight into this. I want to do a little five-a-side draft, OK? So, usual draft rules. If one of you picks someone, you can't pick the other one. But it's a five-a-side draft from the 2 11s that are selected today, OK?
All good.
So, Sam, you're going to have the first pick, mate. Who have you gone for?
De Gea.
OK, nice. David De Gea.
I think out of both, Mendy's obviously better, but I think De Gea's resurgence as well has actually been quite decent this year. So if I had to have a United player, De Gea is.
Yeah. I'll put that in. I'll put that remit in. You've got to have 2 Man United players at least. Yeah. OK, so Pat, I'm going to try and rattle through these. Who have you gone for first pick?
Well, I'm definitely not going to go for Mendy because I got him anyway.
Yeah, well
just gave me him. Right, so Reece, right now Reece can play everywhere, so I'm having you. Okay. And then I'll decide later where I play you.
Sam?
Rudiger, my defender. He's going to sweep up everything. Anyone comes in. He's on everyone.
He's taking my Rudiger. I can't believe it. Look, 5-a-side, you keep the ball.
Yep.
Jorginho.
Yeah,
just you keep the ball. You need to keep the ball on 5-a-side, Jorginho. Nobody does it better.
OK, so you've got 1 Man United player so far, Sam. Who are you going for?
Another Chelsea player, actually.
Go on.
Loftus-Cheek.
Nice.
As one of my midfielders. He keeps the ball and he's nimble. He's, drop the shoulders. I can see him. I know he does.
There's a lot of shoulders coming in your five-a-side already, OK. Pat, who are you going with?
Right, I need someone to stop him. But it needs to be a Man United player. There's only one player in their team that's going to put the effort in, and it's Scott McTominay. Because he'll work hard. I've watched him with Scotland. He can do that job. I don't know if he can do it well enough to stop me.
OK, flying through. Go on, Sam.
Loftus-Cheek. I said Loftus-Cheek already. Rashford.
Oh,
Rashford. That's my second United player. I love Rashford, especially for what he does off the field as well. So he can come in.
Yeah, OK, we'll allow that. Pat?
Right, I need one more Man United player.
Yep.
Look, Sancho's got it in him. He can be a player. It might not be today. Sorry.
I wanted Sancho.
Need him up front, bit of pace, chase about. Maybe headless chicken. Don't care. Just need somebody to run about.
Final piece then, Sam.
Callum Hudson-Odoi. It's only right. He's going to score my goals. He's going to play. He can play in midfield as well. But that link up, Cho, Loftus-Cheek, and Rashford. Come on.
So Pat, I know you've gone Mendy already.
Yeah.
So there's your 5. That's not bad.
I'm happy with that. Mendy, Reece has to play at the back. Sorry, Reece. McTominay and Jorginho in the middle.
So we've got Sam's team on the right there. De Gea, Rudiger, Loftus-Cheek, Hudson-Odoi, Rashford. Strong, to be fair. It's very nice. And then, Pat, you've got Mendy, James, Jorginho, McTominay, Sancho. Ooh.
I think my team just edges it. Slightly.
I'm not sure.
No, I don't think my team giving you a kick. But you defend well.
Have you say in the comments below who you think's gonna pick the best one. We've got some social media reaction to the team, obviously, coming in today as well. This is a good one. Strong team. La Cobham to shine again. 3-0 Chelsea win. 3-0 Chelsea win would be very nice, wouldn't it? 3-0 would be lovely. And then Reece James masterclass incoming. That could have been from any game this season, to be fair, because he loves a masterclass. Lukaku banging in 4 after coming on at 73rd minute.
And celebrating. I love that.
Of course, yeah, for Man United, isn't he? The end of the road for Man United. You do forget that. Right, commentary coming up very, very shortly. First, let's hear from some of the fans outside.
So my best memory was, I think, a few years ago, an Azpilicueta cross into the box, Morata header across the whole thing, 1-0, perfect result. I think my sister was here for 4-0, and that's what she would have said, the 4-0 with Mourinho.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a great fixture. I can't wait for it today.
So is this one of the fixtures that you look forward to the most then?
Yeah. I think it actually speaks to the scale of Ronaldo as a person, that even as a Chelsea fan, I'm just excited to come and see him play as well.
Yeah.
It is a massive game, but on form, hopefully we should be fine. Hopefully we can smash.
First of all, I flew across the pond. I flew here from America for this game alone.
Amazing.
So growing up, it was always Chelsea United. That was a big fixture back home in India, and I was always torn. I love like Frank Lampard, and then I was torn torn on which side to jump on.
Yeah.
So I decided growing up that the 2007 FA Cup finals at the new Wembley.
Yeah.
I decided whoever would win that game would get my allegiance.
Love it.
And then Drogba scored in extra time. He lobbed Van der Sar after running past Ferdinand.
Lovely.
Iconic. That's the
and
game.
now you're here. I'm sure that's a decision you do not regret.
I do not. I was standing there for a few minutes and I was just taking it all in. I have goosebumps.